Okay. Okay, friends, let's chant for a few moments. And welcome everybody, also friends online. It's very nice to have you. Let's begin with some chanting. So our topic this morning is healing, energy through arts, fasting, and I have a PowerPoint presentation based on Master's teachings, and we will go into that, some details. Also, I want you to know in this 2-hour session, it's going to be interactive. So you have questions about, because health and healing, it's like the sun. There are so many ways to approach it. To ask questions also. But let's start with this chant. It's one of my favorite chants on healing, and the words you may know, but I'll repeat it if somebody does not know. What is this life flowing through my veins? Can it be other than divine? What is this energy flowing through my form? Can it be other than divine? What is this consciousness flowing through my brain? You know, a few hours ago, we were all asleep. We were in the subconscious mind. Now we are awake. Is there another state where we can go? And if we do, what is the source of that consciousness? And finally, what is this power flowing through my will? Master says there is no upper limit of our willpower. You know, when we are down, we can lift ourselves up using the willpower. That's the power God has given us. So let's sing this chant, and then the second half of each line is, in thy light, in thy love, in thy joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Om. And Master says your highest healing, and I'll read his lines later. He says the highest healing happens when you unite yourself with God. That healing it's permanent. It is in body, mind, and spirit. And all other aspects of life, energy, consciousness, willpower, they're all coming from him, so that you and I can get familiar with them and exercise our will through these aspects. So let's sing this beautiful, as Swami used to call, philosophy in music. other than divine? What is this energy flowing through my form? Can it be other than divine? What is this consciousness flowing through my brain? Can it be other than divine? What is this power flowing through my will? Can it be other than divine? In thy light, in thy love, in thy joy, I am one with the infinite Lord. In thy light, in thy love, in thy joy, I am one with the infinite Lord. In thy light, in thy love, in thy joy, I am one with the infinite Lord. In thy light, in thy love, in thy joy, I am one. I am one with the infinite Sitting upright, lifting the gaze to the spiritual eye. Let's meditate just for 2 to 3 minutes, inviting the presence of the masters with us in this church, inviting not only their teachings, but the vibrations behind the teachings, the power behind them to bless us this morning. Let's offer a prayer together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, beloved Masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar Ji, beloved Master, saints of all religions, dearest Kriyananda Ji, we humbly bow before you all. O great Masters, we thank you for the teachings of health and healing you have brought in our lives. Help us apply these teachings that we may find greater strength and vitality, mental clarity, emotional maturity, and most importantly, may we uplift our awareness, offering it, uniting it with thine. We are your children. Come to us. Om. Amen. Peace. Amen. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now, David, when I stand, do I need to move this? No. Good morning once again, everybody. And as they say, here we are again. We had beautiful satsang. I enjoyed it so much yesterday. You know, that's one genius of Kriyananda ji. It's a proof and testimonial of the teachings that are given in autobiography of a yogi master wrote that, you know, again, I was sharing yesterday that master, when he was invited to come to Boston in 1920, he didn't know English, at least didn't know it well. And here he had his passport, he had booked the tickets, said yes to the lecture, and nobody was talking about it. So he ultimately brought it in front of his guru, Sri Yukteswar. He said, "Sir, I don't know English. And how am I going to lecture? You know, how do you write a book if you don't know the language? It's quite simple." And Sri Yukteswar ji, as I mentioned yesterday, he said to him, "Mukunda, English or no English, your words will be received." And this is a very beautiful thing because Master also brought us health teachings. Master wrote in the autobiography, he said, we are all ultimately one family. I was picking Brahmacharini Lakshmi, who is from Palo Alto. I think 2 years ago, she came to Pune and she was in Mumbai. I had to pick her from there. So I took some devotees with me and we went to the Mumbai center and picked her up. And as we were coming, we were just getting to know one another. So we started the conversation and we saw it's this beautiful church in Mumbai. And I said, "Oh, wow, look at that. It's such a beautiful church of Saint Peter, it was." And somebody said, "How do you know it's Saint Peter? I can't see the name." And I said, "No, the name was hidden by a tree." I said, "But look at the statue. He's got the keys around his waist. And, you know, that's how you know Saint Peter. He was given the keys to the kingdom of heaven." And Master, again, in autobiography, beautifully explained, he said those keys that were given were not big keys that would really open those big gates. He says those keys are the techniques of meditation, of God communion. And something very similar even to Kriya Yoga. He says that was given by the Guru, by Christ, to his disciple Peter. And so to this day, Peter's statues are Saint Peter. He's drawn with the keys. In the same way, so we were talking about that. And then I said, "By the way," I said, "Lakshmi, what faith were you born in, religion?" You know, and she said, "Oh, I was raised a Roman Catholic." I said, "That's beautiful." And then I said, there was a devotee by the name Aliona in the car, and she had come to Pune. Now she stays there from Russia. I said, "Where are you? What about you?" She said, "I was raised Russian, Christian, Orthodox Christian faith." I said, "Oh, that's very interesting." Well, the third member in our car was Nayaswami Bhavani, whose birth name was Blazy Elizabeth Philip. And she's a Christian from India. And I said, "Bhavani, what about you?" She said, "I was raised a Protestant." And I was the fourth person in the car. I was raised a Hindu. And my parents are from the state of Haryana in North India, which has the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where Krishna and the Pandavas, you know, had that war. It's a barren field. It's pretty much like nothing grows over there. One Mahabharata was enough. It settled it for her. And I said, "Well, I'm from the land of Kurukshetra." But the fun thing was, I said, "Isn't it amazing that we are all friends? We are all Guru Bhais, brothers and sisters in God, happily driving in this car." And it reminded me of Mahavatar Babaji's statement to, I think, Lahari Mahashaya. He said, "Remember, the science of Kriya Yoga." Now, imagine this was 1861. He said, "The science of Kriya Yoga will spread across all lands, aiding in harmonizing people's feelings and what did he say? Nations' relations." And he says, "By one's individual experience of God, man will realize his kinship. with all others. That's such a beautiful thing. Here we are discussing about health and healing, and Kriyananda ji, I sat in many meetings with him when he would meet different doctors, Ayurvedic practitioners, homeopathic doctors. My own background, as I was sharing yesterday, was in allopathy, in modern medicine, in surgery. And Swami would say, he said, 100 years from now, he said, people are going to look back and he says they're going to say and see how primitive modern medicine was. Now, it's not that he didn't have respect for it. I remember actually this very one meeting we had, and all of us doctors were walking towards Swamiji's house. He wanted to see us. He wanted in time a hospital, an evening hospice to be made. And as we were walking, human nature, we, to the degree we are bound by the ego, it's the realm of what is called Maya. And Maya, its literal meaning is that which divides. And, let's say you could be in Maya, and you're like, what Maya? I don't believe in Maya. Where's Maya? I'd like to see her, meet her. Well, that's Maya. And so here we were, these 3-4 of us, just wonderful friends and doctors walking up. But as we were walking, as it happens, I remember somebody saying, oh, you practice allopathy. They're like, yeah. Allopathy, it's only symptom-based. They're only at the surface level. Like, yeah. And then Ayurveda was like, they didn't boast, but they're like, we are the ancients, most ancient science. We were before all of the others came along. And so we were just walking, and I said, yeah, there are, it's so interesting. And I said, think about integrated health. I said, where you're not so much about where you're coming from, but you have the knowledge you have, but think of the person in front of you. Kriyananda ji used to say, it doesn't even matter if something is written in a scripture or not. The more important thing to ask is, does it work? He said, if it works, if it's helping me, then it's good for me. And then, of course, the question comes, what is help and how is it good for you? So anyway, we reached Swamiji's house, and it's so interesting. The first thing he said was, oh, welcome. It's so nice to have you all. And he said, I'm alive because of allopathy. He said, I would have died long ago. And he said, I've been in so many hospitals, I've been in so many emergencies. And then he said, homeopathy is a wonderful science. It has worked for many of my friends, but it's never worked on me. And then, like I was sharing about with some friends, actually, not in the talk yesterday, but over lunch yesterday, he said, Ayurveda must have been a very high science when it was conceived. It was in Treta Yuga or such. And actually, if you read the origins of Ayurveda, it came from Dhanvantri, who in India is known as the father of Ayurveda medicine. Now, if you look at the birth of Dhanvantri, that's very interesting. And there are different statues and pictures, paintings depicting it. Dhanvantri himself is said to have been born from the churning of the oceans, if you know that story. That one time the gods and the demons had this fight. The fight was over immortality, over nectar, which brings immortality. And how do you solve this issue? Well, let's do a tug of war. So the gods are on one side, the demons on the other side. They have this huge snake who offers himself that if you want to churn the ocean, I'm big enough. And out of the ocean is where it was said that the nectar is going to come out. So they start churning and pulling back and forth, and they're getting tired and such. Long story short, in the beginning, actually the poison comes out, and nobody wants that. They're like, it tires them out, and they're like, this is not good for us. And ultimately, the nectar does come. Now, the interesting thing, one of the things during that time is Dhanvantri comes out of that. And what is that churning of ocean? Jayaji, many years ago, gave a beautiful talk for Kriyabans. He says that churning of the ocean is our breath, every single breath. We are trying to be divine, and there are tendencies which, like gravity, keep us down. And you're like, what shall we do? Well, let's have a tug of war. Let's do some kriyas. Let's do some pranayam. Let's bring the energy up. This is the seat of immortality. I'm going to read an affirmation on immortality. Now, the interesting thing was the science of Ayurveda came from Dhanvantri, but as it is at least allegorically expressed, he himself, or the wisdom he had, came from deep meditative, intuitive experience. So keep that in mind. We sometimes can be so hung up on a particular research. I was in India's premier yoga research institute in Bangalore some years ago, and attending a talk somebody was giving, and this gentleman was a doctor, professor, Ayurvedic practitioner. And he said, and this institute, till 15 years ago, it's called S. Vyasa, was producing 70% of the global research on yoga. So really premier institute. And if you know Murali Venkat Rao, one of our teachers from Seattle, he did his PhD from there. So beautiful institute. So, but this gentleman who was giving the talk, he said, research has proven this, research has proven that. But he said, if research tells you that, let's say, eating fruits for breakfast is good for you, he said, well, you know that even before research came out. There is, and he said, you can wait for research, but research can take time. Now, why are we discussing that? When we think of health, Master said, if you're praying for somebody, the person is at a distance, let us say, somebody has passed away. Swami said, you can pray for them still. Now, how do you know if that person has benefited or not? Sometimes actually we pray for months and years for somebody, and they do not show outward signs of improvement, or they're not restored outwardly to healing. Should we say healing is not happening? Master said, no. The proof that healing is working is in the experience, in your experience as a person who is praying, because you're asking for God that, Lord, I want to send this healing energy to this person. And Master said, if it has flowed through you, that is the proof that healing has happened. It may take time, but he said it has been your experience. And he says, you don't need to doubt. Don't go and ask the person, did you get healed? And don't do something. I saw in a healing workshop many years ago, I was leading a workshop in Pune on Master's healing techniques. And I said, Master taught, and we'll share that technique. He said, rub your hands and chant Om 3 times and send the healing energy out. Now, I had also told people, close your eyes and chant Om. So right in the front row, there was a guy sitting where Dhuti is sitting. And I said, let's raise the hands and chant Om and send the blessings out into the world. And this is how he started. Oh, oh, man! Like my eyes were open for them, and I was like, "How can I stop him?" And he's like, "Oh." And when it ended, I said, "How did it feel?" And he was like, "Oh, it felt very good." Everybody. I said, now, Master's healing technique is this way, not this way. You can do this. Master said, sometimes you can touch a body part and chant Om. So I said to him, 3 times Om like this. He said, but what about me? If I send all the blessings to others, and he said, anyways, I have very little stock of blessings. If I give it to others, what about me? And then, of course, as you may know the teaching, Master said, the instrument is blessed by what flows through it, not to it. To it too, but it's going, you have thought, like we sang, I have thought of something, I'm sending energy, a certain consciousness is flowing through me, I have applied my will, and if I can feel that energy flowing through me, it is blessing me, and it is blessing whatever situation I have gone to pray for. Now, let's simplify this subject. That was a genius. You know, if you haven't read, Swami Kriyananda ji, nice to meet you. Did we meet in Rhode Island years ago? I'm seeing the lady in the last row, but I'm not sure. In white, not the last row. In the second last row. Yes. In Maine, that's what I remember. We met in Maine. Yeah, in 2019. She was wearing a beautiful red jacket, I remember. So, Master Swami, about Swami, it said in a reading, Agastya reading, 3,000 years ago, it was there. And Swami found that reading in Hoshiarpur, Punjab. The Maharaja of Punjab took him there in 1958. And Kriyanandaji said that this leaf said many things which were true. One of the things it said was, you are two brothers, two other brothers, and there was one sister, but she passed away in your mother's womb. And Swami said, I never knew of that. So when he came back to the States, he asked his mother. And she said, how did you know? She said, I and your father had decided we'll never share about it. How did you know of my miscarriage? And Swami said, 3,000 years ago, there was a reading somebody wrote, and there were details of my life. And again, it's quite a concept. But one of the things it said was, no one explains the teachings as Kriyananda does. And again, we are so blessed. You can see why Yogananda ji told him. He said, I want you to write. And Swami wrote 100. And Swami said to him, Master, haven't you already written everything there has to be written? Because on many levels, Autobiography of a Yogi is a complete book. It is a scripture. Kriyananda ji, a year before his passing, somebody asked him, which is the most important book we have on our path? And right away, Swami said, Autobiography of a Yogi. And the person said, oh, yes, yes. But the second most important book, and Swami said, the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. And so the autobiography has it all. But coming back to the simplicity with which Swamiji explains, I'll give you two lines, which on one level can sum up our class itself. One line was in the Raj Yoga book. Swami says, the science of yoga can be summed up in this one line. We have to lift the energy up our spine and bring it to the spiritual eye. And then he explains, he says, to the degree your energy is flowing up, and today we'll discuss techniques and methods for that. He said, to the degree the energy is flowing up, healing will happen. And to the degree that energy is not flowing or flowing down, disease will happen, disease will come, healing will be absent. What is disease? That's the second line. What is disease itself? We can say, well, I don't have a disease. I, by God's grace, at least 20 years ago when I came on the path, now last month I was telling somebody I had a sprained shoulder, I had a little sprain in my ankle, right lower back, and like the body is kind of making itself known every now and then. But 20 years ago, if somebody would ask me, do you have any disease, Aditya? I would say, no, disease, no hypertension, no diabetes, no this, no that. But what is disease? Dis-ease, Master said. He says, God intended us to always be in ease. And it's possible. Master didn't leave it at that. As you know, and we'll discuss some techniques. He gave hundreds of techniques how to be in emotional ease, mental ease. Kriyanandaji said each song he composed is an antidote for some emotional distress. Think of those 52 affirmations. We'll practice 3 of them today. Think of flower essences, yoga, energization, proper eating, exercise, prayer, Kriya Yoga to burn up karma. Once somebody came to our center, they were looking around and they said, do you teach yoga? I said, yes. They're like, will it help me lose some weight? I said, the yoga we teach will help you lose weight, not only of this incarnation, but all your past incarnations. And she's like, really? What kind of yoga is that? I said, it's Kriya Yoga. It burns everything down to ashes, all past karma. And how blessed are we to have, these beautiful teachings. So what we're going to do today is, I like to go back to the basics. I'll tell you 1 or 2 stories and then we'll simply start the practice. Then I have a PowerPoint that David and I will take you through, and then we'll have some question answers. Now, when I was a doctor, practicing doctor in 2007 and 8, I was working in a hospital. Part of my job was to oversee different surgical wards. And it's morning time, patients have had breakfast, they're waiting for the doctor to come, and I would go from bed to bed, meeting them, seeing their file reports, just talking to them how they're doing. And this is something I noticed, and this was before I came to the path, and later Swami would make a strong point about this. And the observation was this: I would go to a patient, let's say there's a bed over here, I'd say, hey, how are you? Good morning. And they're like, I'm good, I'm very good, doctor, I'm good. And you had your breakfast, you're feeling good? Yeah, very nice. Now, why instinctively, when I would talk to them, I would just somehow, patients can often be sitting like this. When you're not well, you're having low energy, you're worried about bills and health and all of that. Your spine is bent. And I don't know, but somehow I would just keep my hand on their spine, just pat it a few times, just making them they sit up straight. And they're sitting up straight. They're like, oh, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm very good, very well. Thank you. Thank you for asking. When is my discharge? Yeah? Tell them about discharge. Good. So I'll go to the next patient and the next patient. But usually I noticed by the time I went to the second or third patient, then the first one would call out, oh, by the way, I was not, I had some nausea yesterday. Or, can I ask you a question? And I noted that when they were asking me the question, they had gone back to their original posture of a bent spine. When their spine was straight, they were not, having a problem. It's like Swami, once he was in a mood. And he was like, well, nobody loves me. Master is, busy, and when will I get to see him? And then he's like, nothing is good. You know how one thing leads to the other. And in that state of mood, he got out of his room to go to the office at Mount Washington. Guess what? The moment he stepped out, Master was in the corridor. And Master said, good morning, Walter. How are you? And Swami said, well, sir. And Master said, very good. Well, sir, Master, very good. Master would not let him complain. Master Swami said in 3.5 years he was with Yogananda ji. He said, I did not see him once with a bent spine. Think about it. And those of you who met Swamiji or have been with Jyotishji and others, how many times have you seen a bent spine? So again, why are we discussing the spine? It is central to our healing. When we are in dis-ease or emotional, mental worry, something, the spine bends. I remember in 2018, I was doing a fundraising for a project, and it was not working out as I had planned and hoped. We had given ourselves many months, but month after month after month, I was traveling from Pune to Mumbai for meetings. Some of these meetings were with business people for fundraising, and you travel like 8-9 hours for a 10-minute meeting, 5-minute meeting, and it doesn't work out. It was not working out. And I was coming back, and I remember somebody was driving, and I was sitting, I was dejected. I was like, gosh, how's this going to work out? I was like, they don't even give you time. Nobody's willing to listen to what we are doing. And again, I was just, and I asked myself, I said, wait a minute, hold it. Where are you going? You're not going in a good direction. And I said, okay, how is my posture? And I said, your spine is bent, Aditya. You're not feeling good. You're emotionally down. And I said, okay, I'll give myself 2 minutes. 2 minutes, Aditya, you have 2 minutes. Come back to normal. And I remember from there, I said, forget about the situation. Forget about the outcome. Get back to normal state of joyful, calm consciousness, acceptance. Okay, few breaths. And I say, okay, now our spine is straight. I'll bring my energy up to the spiritual eye. I'm going to take a few deep breaths. And just after 2 minutes, as Swami said, once he was in a mood, and he said, he focused over here. And he said, 5 minutes. Deep focus. And he said he was out of it. And that was not the end of the story. Then he went on to write, I would drive moods away using that simple technique. Anytime a mood came in, Swami said, I have 5 minutes. I'm going to give 5 minutes, bring my consciousness, bring my energy, bring my focus, my eyes to the spiritual eye, And he noted that was done. So let's practice a few simple things Master has brought us. Straight spine, deep breathing, some affirmations, music, and then we'll go into our slide and our practice. Any questions so far? And keep thinking as, yes, do you have a question? Don't feel shy. No, you don't. Okay. So if there's a question, just raise your hand and we'll come to that. So let's begin. Sitting upright, away from the back of the chair. Again, if you can, if you have any challenges in the spine, feel free to take support as and when required. Gently roll the shoulder blades behind, keeping the palms upturned, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Gently lift the gaze behind closed eyelids. Now we'll practice diaphragmatic breathing. As you inhale, allow the belly to expand. The abdominal area gently comes out as we inhale. As the belly comes in, allow the breath naturally to leave the body through the nose. Let's find in the next minute or two of this practice, let's do this for 2 minutes, a very simple, like Master said, feel the body as a luxury. So let's take a moment to feel the breath, the body, this particular stance and posture we have as a deep luxury, as a deep relaxation. You can take a few intentional deep breaths or simply observe the breath. But again, keep the spine straight, heart open, shoulders relaxed, gaze uplifted, and breathe diaphragmatically for 2 minutes. Make sure you're breathing deep. Breathe out completely so your next inhalation can be deep. Now, continuing to keep the eyes closed, let's take the double inhalation a few times. I'll guide you. And if you're new to the double inhalation, you can open your eyes and observe me as I do this very simple practice. It's a short and a long inhalation through the nose and a short and long exhalation, mainly through the mouth. It's very simple. Let's do this 7 to 8 times. I'll count it for you. Let's begin. Tensing all the body muscles and tissues, relaxing completely. One more time. Now, please do 6 more repetitions at your own pace. Complete inhalations, complete exhalation. And try to do this with the diaphragmatic breath. Keep the gaze uplifted if you can, in both the phases of inhalation and exhalation. 3 more times. Once again, sitting in silence, gaze uplifted, palms turned upwards, shoulders relaxed. Mentally scan the body for any stiffness, tension. Gently tense and relax that body part, or mentally relax it. Come back to the original flow of diaphragmatic breathing. Naturally, once in a while, you can take a deep inhalation, intentional pranayama. Mentally scan the body now. Focus on ease and relaxation, but not a passive one. Remember, our spine is straight, without any support. The eyes are not down as they are in sleep, they are uplifted. We are aiming for a very dynamic, active, super conscious relaxation and ease. Now feel each breath for the next 2 to 3 minutes. We can do this simple practice. Feel the breath not only bringing oxygen, but Kriyanandaji suggested, feel that it's bringing vitality, energy, prana, life force. And that, like a sun ray, each inhalation is simply sending that prana to the far ends of the body tissues. Fingers, toes, top of the head, spine, back, everywhere. So for the next 2 minutes, let's think of the life-giving strength of each breath. Not on the oxygen or physical level, but on the energetic level, prana. Let's do this in silence now for 2 minutes. One last minute. Saturate the body with light, life force. Continuing to keep your eyes closed. Let's listen to Kriyanandaji's affirmation on the topic of good health. First, a few words from him. I'll read it slowly. And we'll try to see how these words are our living reality right now. First, the affirmation. Just listen to it this time. Later, we will repeat it. My body cells obey my will. So keep in mind how you decided to keep the spine straight. That's an intentional act. How you're breathing diaphragmatically. You're keeping the gaze uplifted. And your body cells, nerve cells, muscles, bones, breathing muscles, they're all cooperating with that. He writes, my body cells obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. Now take a minute to feel in any or more than one body parts. Right beneath the skin, Master said, you can feel that dance of divine vitality. It's either a tingling, soothing, tingling, healing sensation, Master said, or a cool current, or a warm current. My body cells obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. Let's feel that vitality for 1 minute in silence. Then he writes, I am well. Now think of this line not so much from what your medical reports are saying. In time, they could also get well. But continuing to keep your eyes closed, I'll share this little story. Swamiji, towards the end of his life, went to a hospital and he had to fill this form. And they were asking, what do you have? And he ticked hypertension and sugar issues and allergy, cancer in the past, open heart surgery, hip joint replacement, and on and on and on. He pretty much had to tick the entire page. And at the end, there was a question, how are you feeling today? And he wrote, excellent. And remember, he was in hospital and he writes, excellent. So let's come back to that line. I am well. I am strong. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. Now, breath by breath, let us think of our spine as that river flowing upwards from the base, up the spine, through the medulla and brain to the spiritual eye. And Kriyanandaji, another time, somebody asked him about how should we visualize our energy spine. And you can think of the spine if you don't know the astral energy or anatomy, that's fine, absolutely okay. Swami said, think of it at least as wide as the Ganges when it's meeting the ocean, which is a mile or more wide. So don't limit that flow of prana, life force and energy up your spine to a narrow constriction. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. Let's meditate on that for a minute and try to feel it with each upcoming inhaling breath especially. Feel that surge of energy. Now let's listen to his words, and you can keep your eyes at the spiritual eye, or if you want to take a little break, you can open them also. Kriyanandaji writes, good health is more than the state of not being ill. It is a radiant state of inner well-being. Physical illnesses may be cured by medicines. No medicine, however, can induce that state of boundless energy which comes when every cell in the body cooperates with the mind, willingly, joyfully, in all that it seeks to do. Such radiant well-being comes after the mind has been cleared of every shadow of unwillingness, of fear, of doubt. When one has learned to say yes to life, and when one has learned to love. Let's meditate on that and see how far, how beautifully expansive and elevated that definition is from how we may perceive, I'm healthy, I'm not healthy, I'm well, I'm diseased. So let's take a moment to think of those qualities: freedom from fear, doubt, unwillingness, the ability to love, and the health that accompanies such beautiful qualities. Now, as we prepare ourselves to affirm, let's tense and relax the body again a few times. But this time, let's focus on bringing more energy with each inhalation. 2 more times. You can gently rub your body cells. You can mentally repeat that affirmation by Swamiji. Awake, rejoice, my body cells. You can even say it aloud. Awake, rejoice, my body. Awake, rejoice, my body cells. Awake, rejoice, my body cells. Awake, rejoice, my body. Okay. Now, let's come back to tensing and relaxing a few times more, 3 more times. Sitting upright with the gaze uplifted. Let's repeat this affirmation together. Feel that your body cells, your mental attitudes, your heart, they're all cooperating with this affirmation. Master said, put your faith, devotion, focus, deep yearning to acquire the state you are trying to affirm. Put all that feeling into your affirmation. Let's repeat loudly at first. My body cells obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. I am well. I am strong. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. Now, in a normal voice, my body cells obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. I am well. I am strong. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. Let's take a few moments to feel the power, the truth, especially the spiritual reality right now behind these words. Now we will whisper the same affirmation, but keeping up the intensity and concentration inwardly. My body cells obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. I am well. I am strong. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. Mentally now, to change, Master said, the subconscious mind, where preconceived definitions, habit patterns pertaining to health are situated. Feel this affirmation dislodging that old definition and bringing this one in place. Mentally repeat these words. My body cells obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. I am well. I am strong. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. And finally, with complete concentration at the point between the two eyebrows, making this affirmation a living reality now and going forward. My body cells obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. I am well. I am strong. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. Mentally offer this prayer. O mighty source of all that is right and good, help me to see my strength as an expression of thy infinite power. Let me banish the darkness of disease. It is forever foreign to thy light. Let's stay in this state of good health for a minute. We will now go into the next technique of healing by Master. This is called Om chanting. You can gently open your eyes if you'd like, or continue to keep them closed. Times. You can stand up and stretch if you'd like. Okay, please be seated. This is, and Master suggested mental chanting of Om, but he said you can also chant outwardly. And I don't know if he said you can chant with the harmonium, but why not? Swami has an entire recording of Om chanting, and we do this many times with the harmonium, with a single note. So sitting upright, again if you can, away from the back of the chair, I'll be calling out the name of different body parts, and what we will do is simply tense them during that chanting of Om and relax. So half the time during the chanting of Om, we will tense, we will relax. You can also imagine space or light in that body part. And especially if there is any particular site in the body where you feel soreness, you require greater healing, strength, recovery, you can chant Om a few times more over there. So let's tense and relax the entire body once. Breathe out, relax. Now tense the left foot and you can relax. Right foot. Relax and feel the energy in that body part. Feel the spreading of the life force. Left calf. Tense and relax the right calf. Left thigh. Right thigh. Left knee joint. The right knee. Right and left buttocks. Lower abdomen. Upper abdomen. The pelvic organs. The abdominal organs. upper back, left side of chest, right side of chest, both the lungs, the heart, left shoulder, right shoulder, left upper arm, right upper arm, left elbow joint, right elbow joint, left forearm, right forearm, left wrist, right wrist, left palm, right palm, fingers of the left hand, fingers of the right hand, muscles of the neck, the face, jaw and eyes, the ears and the back of head, top of the head, the brain, the forehead and spiritual eye, the spiritual eye, physical body. Now I will keep chanting outwardly, but you chant only in the mind, especially for any body part requiring healing. Let's invite the life force to come there. Master said the life force has its own latent divine intelligence. It knows what to do. Our job is to invite it and to facilitate its flow. So tense and relax any body part where you require healing in greater amount. Let's invite the grace of Divine Mother and the Masters to bring us deep relaxation and ease. Chant Om now only in the mind. I'll chant 3 times outwardly. Let us feel the harmony of our body cells, our mind, our emotions, our spirit with the harmony of Om. While in this state of meditation, let us think of anyone who is in need of healing. Master called his healing techniques divine will healing. For illness too, diseases too come for a reason, to teach us something, to help us burn our karma, develop greater understanding, non-attachment, freedom. So think of anyone you're praying for, any situation. See the light of God around this situation or person. See that light of God within them. For God's light is everywhere, it's only latent or hidden. Now try to feel the presence of Divine Mother in that situation. As Swamiji said, he was feeling excellent. See the holy, divine presence of Divine Mother in that person you're praying for. Her presence is enough to heal anything, everything. We will now practice Master's techniques of praying for others. For a moment, you can open your eyes. We'll rub our forearms, magnetizing, energizing them, inviting the life force to come into this instrument through which we can rub the back of the hand, the palms, likewise both sides. You can also do this practice, energizing. Close your eyes, feel the dynamo and energy, magnetism that this creates. And now lifting the hands above the head, let's chant Om 3 times. Continue to keep the hands up. Just allow them to flow through you and try to feel them now, flowing out through the palms, the hands and fingers. Few more moments. Om Shanti. You can bring them down. Gently open our eyes. Now, Master said you can keep your hands upraised for up to 15 minutes. And I've often thought about it, how, it's strenuous on one level, but you would have to be in this deep state of relaxation and flow. And it's almost like the healing rays that we are sending to others first have to keep our hands upraised. But it's beautiful and it's a ministry. It's a huge ministry in itself. So again, like my friend I was telling you, he was like, oh, Om, 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 that may this Om not escape me. It's almost like we are closing ourselves. Rather, like Jyotish ji, likes to say, he says, you can come to take some blessings. And he said, you bring a cup, you bring a tumbler, or you can bring a hose and connect it to the ocean of God's reservoir. And he says that hose is the medulla, it's your body, it's your heart, it's your hands. And he says, when you're like that hose, he said, all those waters will flow through you. And think of, again, Kriyananda ji, that so many health challenges for whatever reason, but so many healing. Master would say Saint Francis of Assisi, Saint Francis, Master said he was broken in the form, physical form, but at his touch, dead people were coming back to life sometimes. And Master said, imagine how much life force must be flowing through him, but he would not use it for his own healing. And it's beautiful that, like, remember yesterday I was sharing when I started the rural clinic, I asked Kriyananda ji for some advice, and he said just one line, be in bliss. He said, be in bliss. And that way, a lot of healing can happen. So we'll now, any questions so far? Yes, please.
So when you train up your spine, when you open up,
Yeah.
I always have to balance the pushing out the negative emotions with the repressing,
With the repressing.
If I force my body to change and I force my emotions to change, sometimes it comes back with a vengeance. And when I open up my chest, it's sometimes I'm a little afraid because it's like Pandora's box. So,
Mm.
how do I balance that? Because I know that I can do it, but I know that I can do it. So, how do I balance that?
Mm.
Because I know that I can do it, but I know that I can do it. So, how do I balance that? Because I know that I can do it, but I know that I can do it. So, how do I balance that? Because I know that I can do it, but I know that I can do it. So, how do I balance that? Because I know that I can do it, but I know that I can do it. So, how do I balance that? Because I know that I can do it, but I know that I can do it. So, how do I balance that? Because I know that I can do it, but I know that I can do it. So, how do I balance that? Because I know that I can do it, but I know that I can do it. So, how do I balance that? Because I know that I can do it, but I know that I can do it. So, how do I balance that? Because I know that I can do it, but I know that I can do it. So, how do I balance that? Because I know that I can do it, but I know that I can do it. So, how do I balance that? Because I know that I can do it, but I know that I can do it. So, how it's a whirlwind that's uncontrollable. Then it subsides if I stay in the same position. But sometimes I feel like if I lift my gaze and I'm just pushing it back and it comes back with a force.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Do I have to repeat it for the online audience, or they would? Okay, okay. So it's a very nice question. What's a good name? Gabriella asked this very nice question that, here we are asking everyone, Master suggesting that keep the spine straight. And Swami used to say, keep the heart open. I mean, so much so Swami would walk into a room like this and like he insisted, he said, walk in heart first. And, but then Gabriella is saying that, here I'm trying to breathe deeply, open up the spine, and open the heart, and sometimes it's like a Pandora's box. You can feel energy or emotions coming out and they can kind of come back at you. And it's actually, first of all, I have to congratulate you on the awareness, because it does happen. Why does it happen? Remember that churning of the ocean we were talking up and down? We do live in a world of duality. Master said when he went to his guru's ashram, Sri Yukteswar's ashram for training, he said the first thing that Sri Yukteswarji told him, he said, let's study the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. That's one of the first things they did. And Master said, we spent 6 months on the first 8 to 10 lines. 6 months on 8 to 10 lines, sutras of Patanjali's teachings. And the first one, especially Swami said that's very important, it's the first one. The second one is yoga's chitta vritti nirodh. Yoga is the neutralization of the vortices of the heart's feeling. That's the definition of yoga. But what's the first one? Now we come to the study of yoga. So it's almost like, imagine a young Mukunda walks in and Sri Yukteswar says, now we come to the study of yoga. Or Master saying, sir, now I have come to study yoga from you. Now we may say, oh, that's a very good intention. But Master brought our awareness to that first word. He says, now we come. So he said, well, why now? Now means something was happening before that. So he says what's happening is, and what Sri Yukteswarji really instilled in them is the teaching of, again, Sankhya and Vedanta, two of the other major philosophies of India. But that's not important. The important message of Sankhya is we live in a world of duality. So before we practice yoga, Kriya Yoga, which is again neutralizing that duality of inhalation and exhalation, ups and downs, it is important to understand we are in a world of duality, which is to say, if you do open up your heart and spine, if you feel inspired today, there is, even if it's a spiritual upliftment, there will be some sort of corresponding trough that is going to come. Now, you say, well, if it's inevitable, what are we doing here? The duality is inevitable, but do you need to suffer through that? Do you need to be affected by it? No. I remember asking Jayaji many years ago, we were starting our work outside Pune, and it was a grounds up, a lot of work, construction, people, village relations. I was running my rural clinic and many other things were going on. The monastery was starting, and I said to him, I said, I've almost become kind of a little wary or afraid of deep meditations. I said, because it's almost like you come out of a good meditation and there's a problem waiting for you. Yeah, it's like, it's like almost that much intuition. I told him, I said, I've developed, I know something's waiting for me. And he said the same thing I'm sharing with you. He said, it happens because frankly, it's not the subject of our weekend, but Master writes in the autobiography, he said, your entire karma is in there. Emotions are over there. Feelings are there. Hurts are there. And here Swami is asking us, learn to love, learn to forgive, learn to remove doubts, fears, express willingness. What are these qualities? They are all of the heart. Now, here's the solution. Swami said, it's enough that you've been hurt once. Say that again. It's enough that you're hurt once. You were hurt once by your own mistake, by life, by some circumstance. But he said to close your heart temporarily, it can be okay. It's like, oh, there's a The weather is not good. Let me close the gates. Okay, makes sense somewhat. Well, how long are you going to stay inside? Sooner or later, our energy, I am strong, I am well, I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. You have to increase that flow. You have to increase the strength of heart to say, okay, I'm going to go out and love. I'm going to go out and have faith. And when you're strong, illnesses are less. Dis-ease. Ease is not some passive ease on the sofa by the beach. Christ said, I came not to bring peace, I came to bring the sword. And Master explained that, what is that statement? He said, my peace, the peace I'm teaching you, he was telling his disciples, is not a passive peace. It is the peace that after overcoming all the challenges, it's an unshakable, dynamic peace. Likewise, with Kriyanandaji's health, all these challenges, but what a consciousness he must have had. That I remember when Swamiji's kidneys were failing in Pune in 2012, and some devotees had to actually donate blood, and he was on blood transfusion, he was on dialysis. But I met the doctor who treated him. He was one of the finest in Pune, and this doctor, Swami, reaches the emergency, and then he was in the ICU, and the doctor comes, and his files were it would be written James Donald Walters. That was the official name. So the man comes and he looks at him and he starts talking to Swami. Then he says, sir, do you have another name? And Swami says, I also go by the name Swami Kriyananda. And this man says, I read your book. I read Conversations with Yogananda. And Swami says, have you? And when did you read it? He said, back in 2005. Swami was so overjoyed, he wrote to our head of publications. He says, thank you for doing the service you're doing. My books reached 3 years before I reached this city. But then, when I met, because this gentleman was sharing the story with me, he said, but Aditya, I couldn't believe that his reports were so, almost you might say, abysmal. But his glow, his spirits, his cheerfulness was just something I had never seen. This gentleman passed Kriyanandaji's file around to all the residents, and he told them, he said, first look at the file and then take a peep through that little window in Swami's room door. And he said, take a look at the patient. And he says, they just, you don't know what to say. So again, the point is, whether it's the heart, whether it's the spine, whether it's all the karmas, yes, they are there, but that's why we prepare ourselves. Energization exercises. You prepare the body to handle more. Here we are talking of energy. What does Master write in the chapter Kriya Yoga, in Autobiography, chapter 26? He said the body of an average man can be compared to a 50-watt bulb. By comparison, an advanced Kriya Yogi raises 1 billion watts of energy in his body. I've often thought of that spectrum. 50, he could have said 10,000. He said 50 watts and 1 billion watts. Now, we all know if we suddenly put a chandelier over here and we say, okay, this chandelier is 5,000 watts and we're going to light it. Well, the moment you turn on the switch, the wires are going to burn out because it just can't do it. There's a mismatch. So bit by bit, by keeping the spine straight, by keeping the gaze, that's another thing Sri Yukteswarji told Master. He said, Mukunda, keep your awareness always at the point between the two eyebrows. He says, that way you will make very rapid spiritual progress. So again, basics, keep the focus here. I remember I was attending Swami's last talk in India, in Delhi. And, he was saying, he said, keep the focus here, keep the focus. And I was sitting, I forget next to whom, but they had been on the path 45 years. And they just said, he was saying that back in the 60s also. You keep the focus here. It's such a simple thing. And it just, we do it, and then we forget it, or we lose the strength to do it. And again, and again, and again, when we can do these practices, energization to prepare the body, Hongsa to calm the breath, Kriya Yoga, Bit by bit, we increase that flow. From 12, we go to 24, so on and so forth. So then you realize one fine day, oh, this was a big problem for me. These emotions were overwhelming me. But now, now it's okay. Now it's small. Now it's, your energy has increased and the problem becomes small then. Does that make sense? Yeah. And, oh, that's how it is. There's, there's no other way. Swami said, once he was telling somebody about the spiritual path, and this person said, oh, but this path is so difficult. It's almost like, can't you bring the teachings down a little bit? And Swami was thankfully so clear and firm. Swami said many times it's the priests and ministers who do a disservice to religion by bringing the truth down to a level where it's acceptable. He says, no way. He says, you have to. But the point was that the person said, oh, this is so difficult. And Swami said, is suffering easy? He said, it's like, it's almost like going to a dentist. We all have been through that. Like, oh my God. It's like, why didn't I brush my teeth? And, and that's what Swami used to say. He said, the sun is shining. It's a good day. God has given you a healthy body. Master used to say, oh, do you have 10 minutes after dinner? People say, yeah, I have 10 minutes. Master said, sit by yourself. Ask these questions. Am I happy? What can I do to be more happy? Do I know God? Why don't I know him? What can I do? He said, when you have the time, think about this and prepare. And bit by bit, it's hard, but one step after the other, it really works out, I so many times urge people that, to come and see Swamiji. I remember there was a friend who had come, and for whatever reason, he got upset about something, there was a fees to something, and he said, oh, you didn't tell me about the fee and all that. Back in India, this was going on. Well, I was like, wow, he has such a pure heart, but he got troubled over such a trifle. And I heard he didn't talk to me for 3-4 years. And one day at night, I get like 3 missed calls from him. And normally when you have that many calls, I was like, my background is in medicine. I was like, somebody's in trouble. And so I call him and he says, guess who I met this evening? And I'm like, who? He says, Swami Kriyananda. I was like, no. I said, Swami is flying tomorrow morning. I said, we dropped him at a hotel. He said, I don't know what you did, but I saw him in a mall. He was buying a jacket this evening. And he said, I was also there. And he said, it was so silly of me to get upset all these years ago. And he said, Swami, and he said, Shurjo Narayani, but then Shurjo knew this friend of mine. And Shurjo said, oh, Swami, this is Aditya's friend. And Swami said, how nice to meet you. Now, here's the thing, that energy, that magnetism, that, that he would reach out. Life, Swami says, people may be unjust, or, actually he says about discipleship in his notes. He says, justice on the spiritual path. He says, don't ask for it. Because life is designed. That's why, when you understand its duality, it's going to something. After a challenging time, the sun will shine. After the sun, the clouds have to come. Otherwise, we would have no incentive to find God. So it is with health. When you are healthy, Master said, when you can focus your mind, do the best and make God contact, establish spiritual health, one may say, ultimately. Because in one way or another, the physical body has to give way. Okay? Any other thoughts, questions? Yes, sir.
I practice the Noble Eightfold Path, and of course it talks about Sila, Samadhi, and Prajna. Prajna is right wisdom, right understanding, and the observation of sensations within the inner energy body field of the body, and keeping awareness of it moment by moment as much as possible. And what I'm hearing here is the potential for splitting that awareness in the third eye while I do that. Is that possible?
Yes, and actually it is by focus. I'll repeat the question that, what's your good name?
Chris.
Chris. So Chris is saying that he's read in other traditions that one should visualize and focus on energy in different parts of the body. And here we are saying focus at the spiritual eye. So is it like dividing the attention? Is it contradictory in some way? The answer is no. Actually, remember that story where the only other avatar of modern times, he had a guru, his name was Totapuri. And Totapuri was sent by God as Ramakrishna's guru because Ramakrishna was so devoted to Mother Kali, that she's worshipped in Bengal, especially deeply, that it was holding him back from God consciousness, cosmic consciousness. So Totapuri is telling Ramakrishna, focus here, focus on the infinite consciousness of God. And what do you see? What do you feel? He said, I see Kali. And he says, go past Kali, go past that form. And he said, oh, she's so beautiful. And they try many times, go past her, go past her. And he said, I can't. And Swami would tell this story quite often. And he picked a broken glass and pushed it in his spiritual eye. He said, focus here, cut through that form, go past her. And Ramakrishna goes past her and he says, oh, see now, I feel her everywhere, I see her everywhere. And you have to go past the form. The point is, when two dharmas or duties or practices, techniques collide, it says in the Bhagavad Gita, choose the higher one, and the lesser one kind of ceases to exist. So I'm not saying what you are practicing is lesser, but at the spiritual eye, they say the energy of all the chakras, the Kundalini energy, the healing of all the body, that kind of comes to, you might say, a focus. Master called this the seat of superconsciousness. Spiritual healing is one aspect of superconsciousness. So in focusing here, you will not miss out other things. By actually the most advanced disciple of Ramana Maharishi, he told Kriyanandaji one time, they speak so little, but there's all the wisdom there. First he said, you should always ask the question, who am I? And Swami said, because that is a practice of Jnana Yoga. And Swami said to him, that's right, sir, but my guru didn't emphasize so much on it. And he simply said, Yogi Ramaya, he said, if all the disciples of all the great masters understood exactly what the teacher is saying, we wouldn't see the bickering we see in the world today. And the point was that ultimately all these teachings take us to the same goal. And Swami says, but it is true that Master mentioned it's one of the practices. It was not Master's key practice. But here's the important thing. Then Yogi Ramaya told Kriyanandaji, keep your focus always over here, which is exactly also what Master had told him. So Swami asked him why, and he gave this simple explanation. He said, you can focus on each of the chakras, the energy centers. But he said, by focusing here, you will magnetize this enough to bring the energy of all others over there. And then Kriyanandaji, again, as I was sharing this morning, it said no one shares the teachings like Swamiji. He added a beautiful addition to that. He said, Master actually told us we should not focus over here alone or too much without the devotion of the heart. He said, because that can make you sometimes too will-oriented or ruthless even. But if the heart's devotion and softness is added to that intention, the result is God realization. So keep that in mind. That's why we pray, we chant, we work with our hands, which is service. It's an expression of love. And then you meditate. So Master, in so many ways, has given us such a complete path of healing. Okay, yes.
Just a quick follow-up. Is it sort of awareness of the inner eye metaphorically, or are you actually rolling your eyeballs a little bit?
Feeling wise, metaphorically, but also feeling like Swami would say, and we know that practice. With little practice, it comes. Like you're talking to somebody, but your energy is at the spiritual eye. You project energy from there. Because when you're driving, you want to look straight and otherwise, suddenly you may find yourself in the tunnel of light. Okay. So let's see a PowerPoint we have, and I want to share a life-changing teaching from that PowerPoint. And while David brings it up, I'm going to share actually what that teaching is. So many of you may know Nayaswami Sagar. He's at Ananda Village. And Sagar and I were once doing a 6-week series in Pune for a chain of jewelry chain, and they wanted all their employees to get training in meditation and such. So we shared meditation, yoga, energization, affirmation, diet, fasting, and heliotropic healing. And after 4 weeks, on the 5th week, let's say we were meeting in the morning, and I asked everybody, how was the week? Oh, very good, very good. Did you practice some? Yes, yes. And one person says, I want to share something. I said, yes. He said, my entire life has changed since these classes began. I said, oh, I'm so happy to hear. He said, yeah. I said, what has changed? He said, my sleep, my diet, my energy level, clarity in life, focus. I'm a different person. I said, this is remarkable. I said, what aspect of the teachings are you practicing? He said, as you told us on the first class, I'm drinking a glass of lemon juice every morning. He was serious. I said, well, keep doing it. So I'm going to show you a slide. One of them is about the lemon juice. Not a glass, just a little, I mean, small glass. In India, glasses are this big. Yeah, water. Oh, yeah, yeah. I should add. Concentrated lemon juice. Okay, so we'll go through these rather quickly. By the way, this compilation is from the book, How to Achieve Glowing Health and Vitality. So that and much more is in this beautiful book, compilation of masters' teachings on health, diet, fasting. So I've taken a few things from there. So of course, this is master's definition of health. It's a beautiful one. I read Swami's, so I'll go ahead for now. We'll continue. Now, this is really important to understand, even though even after reading it, it's a little philosophical. So here we are. Can I come here? So let's say this is where we are, the matter reality. We have a physical body, some challenge has come, let's say some fracture has happened, you're trying to heal a body part. And as I said in the beginning, Swami said, to the degree energy is less in the body, whether its flow is less, it's obstructed, or too much energy is dissipated. He said energy is less, illnesses will increase. And if energy is high, the matter reality, the physical reality is high, the health is on a high level. Well, the question is, what decides the flow of energy? So yes, it is our willpower, but it is also, Yogananda ji said, thought. Now I'll give you a simple example. Here we are in the physical room and online. But what was the step before this? What was the first step? You see a flyer that Kyle and team made. Okay, David made. Somebody's coming. This guy's coming. 3-4 workshops will happen. It's a weekend of retreat. You say, oh, I want to go there. So in whatever consciousness you were, hopefully you were not asleep or fainted, you were somewhat aware to then say, I will go there. But just thinking will not take you there. Thinking has to be coupled with energy. And you put out energy, you pay some money, you travel, you've taken days off, and here we are, all of us. So it is with health. Master said, if you've lost health, if you've lost energy, if you're not able to find the right inspired thoughts, it's okay. Through this simple chart, you can say, I need to restore my consciousness. I need to meditate. I need to be with others who are uplifted. I need to read a holy book. I need to find somebody. I remember I was telling some friends yesterday at lunch, I said there was a time I was thinking so much about life, death, illnesses that I was seeing in my medical practice. I said, what's going on? Is it random? Is there some sequence to these things? Why is it affecting me so much? And I said, I just need to read an autobiography of somebody, some doctor who's asked these questions before. And that day I found out autobiography of a yogi. So my thoughts were disturbed, my energy was low, outward success also was not making any sense. And I found a high consciousness through the book. I met Swami, I learned the techniques, here we are. So remember that, that if some challenge has come, through affirmations, we change our thoughts. When thoughts are on your side, okay, let's do something. Let's do some energization. Let's do some yoga. Let's go for a hike. You put out energy. And then you say, I'm feeling better. Yeah? So keep this in mind. Sometimes when you lose your way, I ask myself, where am I lacking? And you say, you're not energizing, Aditya. Or you could do some affirmations for the next 3 days. Or, your posture is not right. Like I caught myself in that story, that my thoughts were not good, energy was low. And I said, I'm in the dumps. What's happening? And I said, look at your posture. You're all bent over. So I said, okay, 2 more minutes. And posture, breath, energy. So this is how Master said illnesses come and health can be restored. Okay, this is about food affects our mood. Lemon juice, eat the right kind of food. And I'll show you the slide in the next one. The slide says it all, the pictures. Yeah. Now, and by the way, I'm seeing this in your food all the time. It's just excellent. It's got all the fruits and berries here, nuts, legumes and such, and it's got our good friend, lemon juice. Earlier, now this is something you want to take once in a while. It's a very interesting thing how our mood can get uplifted by 2 things. There can be a stimulation, or as Master put, he says there could be an emanation. So let's say I'm feeling low and like, okay, I need some coffee. Now, coffee itself, it will work. But if 1 coffee works, you try 2, you try 3. Well, 5th coffee does not somehow work very well. Why? Because coffee itself is working through the prana. Master said you can give medicines to a dead person. It will not work because prana has gone away. Breathing does not work. You can pump air. It will not work. Medicines don't work. He says prana, energy, life force is the medium through which these things act. So certain foods are lifeless. So they stimulate temporarily. But rather, if you eat things like the previous slide was, they give you prana. Sometimes you open, now I know certain parts of America and other parts of the world are so cold. Even in India, some places you have to have cold storage. But Master says, don't depend too much on it. It's a little bit like you see, let's say, I don't know, a packet of chips. And you're like, yeah, that's a potato, and it was a potato once upon a time, Yes, please. Yeah. Why not? Some must be there. But again, remember, prana is energy. 1 step higher than that is thoughts. So there is some physical nutrition over there. Your thoughts can make a huge difference. It's not like prana is completely bereft. Matter ultimately is made of energy. And we have to go with what is. But if the options provide, then you want to go to something which is more closer to the source. Like Master said, if you can pluck an orange and have it, nothing like it. It's a rarity in these times, but it's possible. I remember I was sitting with a Guru Bhai, a friend in India, and wonderful man, a scientist. Now he's close to 90 years of age. He helped make India's first supercomputer. And I went to his house, so he offered me juice and options, tea, coffee, juice. And then as his servant was bringing food, he started chuckling. And I looked at him, I said, what is it? So he said, look, on our table, there's an orange and there's orange juice, bottled orange juice. And he says, on the orange juice, it says it will not go bad. It's fresh orange juice, 100%. It will not go bad for 6 months. He said, but that orange will go bad in 1 month. So either they've added something to the juice or they've taken out something, which is why it's not going bad. I was like, yeah, I never thought about it. We just go by 100%. And so keep that in mind. Closer to the source is better. Okay, these are master's recommendations. I'm sorry the slide is too small here, but again, I saw it already. More fruits and vegetables, proteins, which is part of fruits and vegetables. It comes in some starches. Now, this is again something we know. Master writes over there a few pages in the book. He said, your body, even today, we are right now standing here, we are alive because the body is slightly alkaline. And if it is in any of these states, if the diet is improper or too acidic, if you're working too hard, lack of rest, lack of exercise, lack of fresh air, you start feeling. That's why people go out, they're like, wow, this is nice. So just something about nature makes us feel nice. And Master said that's because your body then is restored on the alkaline side. Whereas if the body becomes acidic, one by one illnesses, start coming in that way. Yes.
I can share this with everybody.
Let's do that. Let's do that. But my request is, because the team in Pune that prepared it, they didn't take the permissions that you need to take when you take the images. So don't share it too widely. What I'll do is I'll share another one like this with you. Yeah. Okay. So I'll take just a few more questions if there are. Yes.
Do you have thoughts on the microwave?
I don't because I've, like you, heard both sides of the equation. But yeah. Yeah. But do your best, in many of these things, do your best. Yeah.
Will you talk about how food affects us in different states of consciousness?
Shall we open this door a little bit for some fresh air?
So one thing I find is that
Sorry, what was the question?
food affects us into different states of consciousness.
Oh, yeah.
For instance, I'm Yogananda, I pretty much eat whatever I want,
Yeah.
and I feel fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'm away from Ananda or I'm a little bit tired, I have to be more careful about this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, that's a very good question. I love something Master said. He said, don't make food your religion. And secondly, he said something I have not heard too many yoga masters say. He said, food is secondary to yoga practice. Because for a yogi, or like Christ said, he said, it's not what goes in a man's mouth that makes him holy. It is what comes out of it. So it's important what we are eating, but when you're in a company of happy, joyful souls, you're in the presence of the masters, you yourself are open in your consciousness, and you could survive with little food. You can do well, like that teacher told Yogananda. He said, never let anybody tell you you're alive because of food, Mukunda. That food in its own way, it's frankly a little bit like breathing. Most people wouldn't say, oh, yes, I can do without breathing. But what did Master say? Master said, remember, breathing is a habit. And Master said, when you relax in God, that's why Swami defined meditation one time. He said, what meditation is? Ever deeper relaxation in God. When you're so relaxed, much like Shavasana, you give up the body, or you're like, there's no need for me to breathe. I'm living on prana. Now, of course, Master also said it's not the way of our times, of this yuga, but in higher yugas, Master said it happens beyond, in Satya Yuga especially. But when you're in Satya Yuga consciousness, this is the place of the masters. So we like you're asking about microwave and such. Those things are important on one level. However, you bring in Master's teachings and he picks it up on such a level that you're like, well, it doesn't really matter so much on one way or another. We should not ignore certain obvious things, but where things are, like Master said, somebody once said to him, oh, this disease is incurable. And Master says that's because doctors haven't found the cure yet. And he said, in God, even death is not incurable. So he was picking it from that angle that be in God, focus on that, love him, and then other things will fall in the right place. You're picking the puppet with the highest thread. Yes. That's right. That was the topic for today. Now, fasting, we gave fasting a fast. Yeah. Now, fasting, Master said there are ways to do it. First of all, he said if you're doing a sedentary work, your life is sedentary, and if you're eating 3 big meals a day, he said you're digging your own grave with a fork and knife. He said you don't need it. And that's important to know, because sometimes we live in, and different cultures are different, that, oh, let's eat more, or, oh, you're so thin and you need to eat more. And you don't need to eat more if you're not working. So Master said if you're eating 3, but you're doing a sedentary work, come down to 2 meals, preferably breakfast and lunch, and dinner can be light. Then he said if you can do away with dinner, that's good, which nowadays is called intermittent fasting. So that way you're giving about 12 to 16 hours of rest to your stomach. And in that rest, what really happens is, let's say we eat a big meal, and Thailand team very wisely are giving us just enough portions. Because if the meal was like the main draw, 85% of the body's energy goes into digesting that food, which is why usually post-lunch sessions are we struggle, because before you get energy out of food, you have to put a lot of energy into digesting the food. And take that principle to the next level. Yogananda ji said, if you skip a meal and do some water fasting once a week, he recommended. He said, first of all, your body, which is getting prana and energy all the time through the medulla, he said that prana is not going in digestion, and it can be used to heal the body. It can be used for deeper spiritual perceptions. It can make you healthy on a scientific level. Dr. I think his name is Yohinuri of Japan. He got the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2015. Well, he had survived the atomic bombs that fell on Hiroshima, one of the 2 cities. He was there. And he says one of the aftermaths was, as a child, he didn't get enough food in those times. And thereafter, it took a long time for them to come out of poverty. Now, he didn't have food, but he said when people heard that later, they would say, oh, it must be so miserable. But he said he remembered it, he was just fine. And he thought about it, and he said, I'm going to research if absence of food, fasting, has any benefits. And he got a Nobel Prize for that. And he found out that if you fast once a week on water, intermittent fasting, or Yogananda ji said once a month, you can do a 3-day juice fast, freshly squeezed juices. If you do that fasting, the body has many benefits. First of all, the body has this way of cleaning itself up called autophagy. It starts, cells come and go. Even our bone cells, we say, oh, my bones, yeah, they're right deep inside there. Your bone cells are not more than 2 years old. They are constantly being destroyed, and new ones are being put in their place. So the point is, if the body is cleaning itself all the time, through fasting, you aid in that process. Precancerous cells, cells with inflammation, cells which are too old but hanging around over there and causing difficulties, the functions are not happening, all of that is cleaned up by the body by fasting. On the other hand, overeating adds to the burden of those kinds of cells, which is why illnesses multiply with obesity and with overeating. So fasting has all these benefits. Yogananda ji has also mentioned a 9-day fast, which is very interesting. He gives the recipe in that book, and I recommend you could do that too. But on the other hand, again, Swami would say, don't take it too far. Do it a little bit with a controlled way. I've seen people with hypertension, diabetes, pre-diabetes recover completely. I've met the director of National Institute of Naturopathy. They work with diet and fasting. He told me he healed somebody of cancer, more than one people, by putting them on coconut water fasting. But again, it should be under supervision. He was guiding the person. Because food is a very subjective, the need is very subjective. So one blanket rule of orange juice or avocados or something alone will not do it for everybody, because again, You've changed the matter, but if your mind is not on your side, like we said, the body cells have to cooperate. If they are rebelling, Aditya, what are you doing? Then it's kind of, I'm trying to make it work, but the body cells are not happy about it. So you have to get them on your side. It has to be pleasant. But thanks for reminding me. I would have felt very terrible. So it's 12:10. I'm happy to take some more questions. Do we have time? Okay.
Another 5 minutes.
Okay, 5 more minutes.
Details like lemon juice, is that also in that same book?
Yes, yes. It gives, Master said, a fresh burst of energy, hydrogen ions. It's very good for the brain. I can testify to that. I'm sure many of you, I mean, so many times when, I'm involved in a project or really it's like constant brain energy. At some point, I just squeeze a lemon or two. And Kyle, you'll have to help me. This happened in 2015 also. In India, we call a lemon the little guy, lime. So again, and we have in the Himalayas, we have the big mountain lemon, we call it. Yeah, the yellow one, green one. Yeah. And both are fine. Both are good. Absolutely. So they are very good for the nerves, and the brain is nothing but a bunch of nerves. So sometimes you take enough water and lemon juice with that, and you just feel like, yeah, I could go on for another 2 hours now. And try it instead of coffee sometimes. It really works. Orange juice does the same thing. Master said orange juice brings enthusiasm, which is why, when you're down, you instinctively reach out for that. Oh, yes, this one, sir. And how to achieve glowing health and vitality. Any questions online? You can unmute and ask.
Drink some plain water afterwards. My dentist told me it affects the
So yeah, it's a matter of usage of words. So yeah, when I say lemon juice, it's with water. I've never had pure lemon juice. So yeah. Or even then, oh, interesting. That's good. That's good. But yeah, that's good. Okay. Okay, let's take a moment then, friends. Let's just sit upright. Let's thank the masters for these beautiful teachings of health and healing. And I'll suggest a few other books that we have on this subject. And through our practice of proper diet, fasting, exercise, meditation, their grace, let's see ourselves in these coming days, months, and years being more at ease, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, and in the body, seeing the body, as Master said, as a luxury, feeling it as a luxury, taking care of it. Let's rub our hands together, send the blessings and vibrations we have received out to everybody. Oh. Oh. The affirmation I read before was from this book, Affirmations for Self-Healing. It has 52 affirmations, really beautiful ones. I picked the one on good health, but you can pick any one, that's your need. And then we have a book called Divine Will Healing, with many more techniques of Master about how to pray for others, how to heal others. And of course, then Kyle and team can be sharing with you the different classes that happen that can make you go deeper in this. Thank you.